up, guys? Today we are going to be DIYing some Halloween decorations. We're gonna try to keep it budget friendly so we can use that budget somewhere else in our renovations, whether it's a new coffee bar, spoiler alert, side yard project. We're gonna be doing a lot of outdoor stuff, so very exciting things to come. But in the meantime, let's get festive. So for these projects, again, trying to keep it budget friendly, trying to use a lot of things that I already have, and then a little bit of crafty things as well. I went to the internet to get some inspiration, and there's a few things that I did find. One are these candle holders. They look like ghosts. And I actually thrifted 2 candles that are fake and they flicker, and I figured those would be really easy to go ahead and add them to that ghost candle holder, and all we need is some clay. Another is a art piece that looks similar to this. So we're gonna do something like this. I got a frame from Goodwill. It was like $2. And then I just had a bunch of paint already on hand that we're gonna go ahead and use for that painting. And then the very last thing, and if you order anything online or Amazon, you definitely can probably do this one as well, but it is these little houses that light up. I already have some little tea candles that are battery operated that we can use, and then I'm just gonna use some Amazon boxes, cut them up, and assemble them. So 3 simple projects to hopefully add to the decor in the house to make it a little bit more festive and ready for Halloween. All right, for this project, I had a non-sticking mat, a fluted plastic glass of water, oven-dried clay because the air-dried shrinks, a butter knife, some paint, so I used black and white for the ghost, and some paintbrushes. I have 2 techniques I'm going to show for these ghosts. I think I like one more than the other, but would love to know what you guys think as well. So you do have to work over the clay so that it warms up and it's a little bit easier to use. So that's what I'm doing, and then I'm gonna go ahead and roll it into a cylinder so that I can get that ghost shape. I'm patting it down just so it has a good base, making it a little bit shorter. It now looks like a nice, yummy marshmallow. Don't worry, it will turn into more of a ghost later. Then I'm gonna take my light and stick it in there so that I can have a good hole for it to stay in. And then I will now make the marshmallow slimmer and taller so it looks more like a ghost. So I'm just going to work it until I like the shape. All right, so you can put something around your candle so that it doesn't get stuck, whether it's saran wrap or butter, but I didn't do that, so you can see my clay did get messed up, so I just have to fix it to make sure that it looks not as wonky. All right, you just kind of work the clay until you like what it looks like. Okay, so this is technique number 1. It's the drape technique. So what I'm doing is making it nice and warm so it's easy to work with, and then I'm going to flatten it out as thin as possible, and I'm going to drape it over the base that I made. Once it was draped over, I used some water on my finger to really smooth out those creases, but still trying to keep some good grooves in there so it looks more like a ghost. Then you go ahead and choose the side that you like the best and use some type of tool. I'm using a butter knife here to carve out the eyes and the mouth that I'll later paint black. All right, technique number 2. I like this one a lot better personally, but I needed to make a taller Marshmallow/Ghost. So I made that cylinder with more clay just so that we have more to make. Go ahead and put that candle in there and then roll it up so that we can make it nice and thin, look a little bit more like a ghost here. Once I was happy with the shape, I am now using the butter knife to create grooves, just kind of as a guide for my finger later on when I use the water and finger technique. And then draw the eyes and the mouth. What I did next was take some tin foil and make it the size of the candlestick itself so I can put it in the holes of the candle holders so when it's baking, those holes don't get any smaller. In they go. We're gonna put it for 275 for 30 minutes just to bake them up. Lucky for you, you don't have to wait 30 minutes to see the finished product, so they are done. Take them out of the oven, let them cool, and then let's paint. I know the clay is already white, but I just wanted a little bit of a more pure white, so I'm going ahead and painting it white with a little bit of that glow-in-the-dark paint. That paint didn't end up working out, so bummer. This is the paint I used. It just has flecks of glow-in-the-dark, so it didn't really do what I wanted, but I do know that there are paints out there that you can have that will go full bore on glow-in-the-dark, so making the whole thing glow-in-the-dark. Then I painted the mouth and eyes black, and then it's helpful if you wanted to protect it and put some Mod Podge on the top of it as a top coat. What you'll need for this project is a picture frame. This is the one I got from Goodwill. I love the frame. Also, I used a plate with a plastic bag on top of it so I can put the paint on. Obviously, you're going to need the paint colors of your choice. I did try to use that glow-in-the-dark paint again, but I didn't actually use it for this project. And then you'll need some paint brushes as well. If you have actual acrylic paint paper, that's great. I just had this sketch pad that I ended up using instead. What I'm gonna do first is take out everything from the frame, and I'm actually gonna use the little matte, I don't know what it's called, part to figure out the size I need the painting to be. For drawing the pumpkins, I found it super helpful to do an oval shape first for the center and then actually draw lines from there to create, I don't know, some uniqueness. So yeah, I would just come from the center and then start making my pumpkin from the middle out. Then you go ahead and add pumpkins everywhere in whatever directions you want. Just make sure some of them are coming off the page just to add a little bit of extra interest. And I did do some of them long instead of wide just to have some different pumpkin shapes there. Also, just remember pumpkins are very odd in different shapes. So if you do mess up the lines and it looks a little funky, that is okay. It'll be more organic and look more like a pumpkin. Trust me, I am no artist, so if I can do it, you can definitely do it. All right, now it's time to pick the background color that I wanted. So I have the sienna, which is on the very left. Then I have a little bit of white with sienna in the middle, and then a lot of bit of white with a little bit of sienna on the right. I actually went for the one on the right. Alright, so now I'm just taking that color and I'm just gonna paint all of the background. I am doing a very thin layer because I kind of like that texture, as well as it allows me to still see the pencil marks underneath it so that I can trace for the pumpkins later on. Once the background dried, I went in and added a kind of brownish black color and made the outline for the pumpkin. So I started with a really small line and then I ended up just using a bigger brush and making them a little bit more imperfect and organic. Now, if you're a better painter, I'm sure this will turn out a lot better for you, but I just kind of had fun with it. Even if my lines were a little bit off, I was trying not to judge it too much to wait for the final product. After the pumpkins dried, I went back in with a really small brush to go ahead and do the stems. So just adding those in afterwards here. And to finish it off, I just wanted to add a little extra texture by flicking on the colors sienna, white, and black, just to add a little bit more interest. The very last thing to do is put everything back into the frame and enjoy your art piece. For this project, I used boxes, a glue gun, spray paint in metallic black, and a box cutter. The very first thing I started to do was cut little strips out of my boxes. I just used the flaps of each box and tried to use the ones that didn't have tape on them. If you have something available to make a straight line, definitely do that as well. Next, it was time to figure out my sizes and what I needed. So I did take those tea candles and figured out what I needed the size of my base to be. And then I was thinking I was going to do 3 different size houses. So I started with the smallest one. So 2 pieces that are identical and then one that's going to be the house front. What I did for the front is take the side pieces and go just a little bit longer than the side pieces, so the front is a little bit longer, and then find the center and make my points for the very top of the roof. Then I just used a straight edge to line up my center dot with the very corner of the side cut that I made. And here's the front. It's a little wonky, but it's Halloween, so it's supposed to be a little funky fresh, so it's okay. The next thing there was to do is to draw out what I wanted the windows and door to look like. I just used some inspiration. I also found that poking each direction is a lot easier than dragging your knife to cut these little pieces out. I won't bore you with the rest. Pretty much what I did was make 2 more houses, one each bigger than the next. So the very small one, then I made one a medium size, then I made the large one, and just using the template of the other one to make it just slightly bigger. What was next to do is paint it. So I was gonna go ahead and spray paint them. I did do 2 coats of the spray paint and painted both sides. As you probably could tell as I was cutting them, I did only do sides and a front. You can easily do a back and even a roof if you want to. It could make it look even better. I just decided it looked good enough for what I wanted. But yeah, feel free to go ahead and just make a whole house and it would look awesome, I'm sure. Once the spray paint was nice and dry, we came inside and hot glued each piece together. So I started with the bottom piece, gluing it to the front, just making sure that it's nice and level so that it doesn't wobble when it was standing up. And then for the side pieces, I put glue on the very front piece of the side piece and then on the bottom piece so that they can glue both to the front and the bottom together. And then again for the other side, so glue on the bottom piece, glue on the side of the side piece, and we're ready to go. Then I just repeated that process 3 times. Well, twice after this one. Now it's time to turn these shelves to your basic decor, nothing cool, spooky, or Halloween about it, and turn it into a nice Halloween statement using our new DIY projects. All right, so here we are setting up, trying to figure out what we want this to look like, putting the candles in there using our houses and our picture, but I didn't necessarily like what was going on here, so I decided to switch it up a little bit. So I moved the plant to the other side, the painting to the right. I put the houses in the center just so that we can have some flowers on each side and then some taller items kind of opposite of each other. I don't know. I'm not an interior designer. I don't know what I'm doing, but I just liked how this looked a little bit better. Would have loved if I had some cobwebs to add in here, but I didn't. So this is what we have. with all the lights on. I'm super happy with how this turned out. Let me know in the comments below which technique you would have used for the ghost and which one is your favorite project.